Let's turn to the economy now. This morning, there is new insight into just how expensive food has become. You've probably noticed it.
We haven't seen grocery bills like this in 3 decades. Here's ABC's Andrew Dimbert.
This morning, rising food prices are taking a bigger bite out of household budgets. The Wall Street Journal reports Americans have not spent this much on food in 30 years. In 1991, consumers spent 11.4% of their income on food, and today the latest data shows that figure at 11.3%.
Egg prices were back up again. Meat products also saw some big jumps. Also, carbonated beverages, soda prices jumped a lot. Things that we all enjoy where prices are still jumping.
Overall, inflation has cooled in the past 2 years, but grocery costs are stubbornly high. Experts blame several factors, including higher labor costs and record low cattle numbers driving up the cost of beef and steak.
In some cases, it's strong demand. In other cases, a limited supply. Other cases, weather events. It's a mixed range of factors that are driving the price increases.
Grocery prices rose 1.2% last month compared to the same time last year, but the cost of eating out in restaurants surging much higher by more than 5%. The good news, analysts expect some relief in the coming months.
While prices are rising for food, they're rising at a much slower rate than they were a year ago or 2 years ago, and I would expect that to continue.
Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Former White House economic advisor Stephen Moore is criticizing President Biden for, quote, killing the American dream of home ownership, in part because of sky-high rising interest rates. A 30-year fixed mortgage loan now 7.7%, which is the highest seen in decades. So as Americans try to grapple with that reality, household debt totaled $17 trillion in the year's second quarter. Stephen Moore joins us now. Stephen, welcome.
Good morning, Rachel.
So explain to our viewers why it's becoming so expensive to own a home.
Well, it's important for people to connect the dots here.
Yeah.
Joe Biden came into office and he spent and borrowed $6 trillion, Rachel. We've talked about this on your show before. Never before have we seen this kind of massive borrowing and spending spree in Washington. And a lot of that money was just printed. And so what happened was the Federal Reserve had to raise interest rates as the inflation went through the roof. And one of the impacts of those higher interest rates has been what you were just talking about, Rachel, is that the mortgage rate. Do you know what the mortgage rate was when Trump was president, by the way, Rachel?
What was it?
3%.
Wow.
3.
I remember because I bought a house during that period.
Yeah, exactly. It was 3%. Now it's almost 8%. And so the calculations that I put together show that for most people who, let's take somebody who's in their 30s and 40s, maybe a first-time home buyer, they want to buy a house for the first time for their family. Their mortgage payment under Trump would have been maybe somewhere around $1,200 a month. You know what it is now, Rachel? $2,400 a month. So it's doubled. And that's, as you said at the outset, this is kind of an assault on the American dream of homeownership. People can't afford it. People can't afford these higher rates, and it's causing real havoc right now in the housing market.
All right, Shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who taught me this truth, and double salutations to all you Akim out there laboring, the house of David, the elect, that's pushing his word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom to you, brothers, and shalom to the elect. I'm back with another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rakakwadash, and jumping straight into this article here. This is from americasfirstreport.com. As the headline it reads, it says, is the stage being set for the global food crisis prophecy of Revelation chapter 6, verse 6, all right? And as the scriptures do tell us that the Lord has these prophecies set for an appointed time, okay? And now, in these last days, we see these prophecies becoming activated, okay? Because, you know, this place is on the way out, and, you know, it's pretty much a done deal. All right, we see the writing on the wall for Babylon, America, okay? As it says here in this headline here from Collapse News, it says the U.S. economy is so bad that even dollar discount store chains are closing down. Everything is closing down. The dollar stores, all right, you have, as we did the lesson before, you have certain, chain restaurants like Red Lobster, Chili's, things like that. They're all getting closed down. They're saying that fast food is being viewed as a luxury now for a lot of Americans, man, because even, when it comes to fast food, people can't afford it. So it's looked at as being viewed as a luxury item, just to show you how finished these people are, because it's all over social media, man. As we saw the video, people are complaining all over TikTok, Instagram about the inflation, the price of living, the rent, all right, the mortgages, groceries. There's a bunch of people all over America just crying, man, crying out. What's the point of working? Why do I even work? We're barely making it. We're barely, living out here. It's just a lot of things is going on. But really, that's the squeeze, that's upon these people, because we see that the Lord, is pretty much about to take out this economy, as I brought out in the previous lesson about the $315 trillion of debt that America's in, and it will not be paid off. All right, as the scriptures told us in Jeremiah chapter 51, that Babylon, could not be healed. All right, so there's no healing of this wound, this financial wound, so to speak, man. The debt can't be paid off, and pretty much this is all being done intentionally to crash out this current system and to usher in the new. All right, so just going back to this article here, it says it's the stage being set for the global food crisis prophecy of Revelation 6 verse 6, because right now all over the world, as we've been seeing with the bridges collapsing, the supply chain shortages, you had the vid back in 2019. So all these various factors are going to affect the global food economy, if you will, which I wanted to get into the Revelation, the 6th chapter. But real quick, just reading here in this brief paragraph, it says, will we soon see a major prophecy in the book of Revelation be fulfilled? Global food prices have been skyrocketing, and hunger has been spreading like a wildfire all over the world. We desperately need 2024 to be a year of good harvest, but unfortunately, weather patterns are not cooperating at all, and bad news about harvest forecasts just continues to pour in from many of the planet's most important agriculture regions. Right? It says global food supplies just keep getting tighter and tighter, and the agriculture price spikes that we are witnessing right now are definitely quite ominous. Could it be possible that the stage is now being set for the global food crisis prophecy of Revelation chapter 6 verse 6? In that verse, we are warned of a time when food prices will soar to absolutely frightening levels. All right. It says, just jumping down here. It says, but are we on the way there? In this article, I would like to share what has been going on with a number of our most important agriculture commodities recently. For example, poor harvests in Brazil have caused the price of orange juice to approximately double over the past 12 months. Now, places like Brazil and other countries out there in South America, represent like the breadbasket of the world. This is where, as it said in the article, we get a lot of our food from these different parts of the world that supply, the agriculture needs of the world, and it gets all into that. So there's pretty much a decrease on these different crops that, the world, the global economy, the global food supply chain gets its foods from. There's shortages, man. Harvests are not coming in, and coming into fruition. There's even there's videos still coming out about different chicken coops catching fire, orchestrated famines, all these different things. So yes, this is going to tie into the coming of the food crisis, man, famine and great death, you know. And I wanted to get into that because when you go into Revelation chapter 6, it deals with the four horsemen, you know, the apocalypse, right? So I just want to read this real quick before I read the chapter, dealing with Revelation chapter 6. So it says, the four horsemen of the apocalypse are among the most dramatic images in the Bible described by the Apostle John in Revelation 6, 1 through 8. The four horsemen are graphic symbols for the destruction that will come to the earth during the end times, all right, which the Lord did say that. Let's get that real quick in 2 Ezra 16. This is 2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 17. It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? All right, so the prophet Ezra, he saw the future of the world, if you will, man. All right, and he would be back in that time of the end too. It says, verse 18, it says, the beginning of sorrows, all right, which we pretty much seen in the beginning of this video, you know, the inflation, the record level highs of grocery, things of that nature, things closing down, all right, people complaining about the price of living, how they can't make it in America, so on and so forth, man. These are all the beginning of sorrows, all right? It says, in great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, you see? The beginning of wars, right? World War III, and the power shall stand in fear at the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? It says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. All right. These are the penalties, the judgments, man, that the Lord is sending upon the earth. It says, before all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. So here it is, you know, the Lord has these judgments set up, but people are not considering, man. You know, they're not considering the prophecies, the words of the Lord, man. You know, nor be always mindful of the scourges. It says, but victuals shall be good, so good cheap upon earth that they should think themselves to be in a good case. Even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sore famine and great confusion. And all these things are happening now, right? It says, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the others shall escape, that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy, man. Okay, so all these things are being prepared, all right? Let's finish this out, all right? Just dealing with the four horsemen, all right? The symbols of destruction that will come on the earth during the end times. It says the four horsemen of the apocalypse. The four horsemen of the apocalypse are dramatic, symbolic warnings of death and destruction to occur at the end of days. The four riders represent conquest, the violence of warfare, famine, and widespread death. The four horsemen ride upon a white, red, and black and pale horse, right? So let's get into that real quick, all right? As we were, you know, just looking at the headline from this article, you know, are the stages being set for the global food crisis prophecy of Revelation 6, verse 6, all right? So let's go to that real quick. I'll read a little bit here. So this is Revelation 6 in verse 1. This is Revelation chapter 6, verse 1, and it reads, it says, and I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, the Lamb representing Yahweh Shai, all right, the Messiah. And when I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard as it were the noise of thunder, one of the four beasts saying, come and see. And we understand, pursuing to Revelation chapter 5, verses 1 through 5, Yahweh Shai was worthy. He was the one that was worthy to break the seals, which enabled us to receive of the understanding. All right. The prophecies, the mysteries and whatnot, you know. It says, verse 2, it says, and I saw and behold a white horse. All right. That white horse is tied back to pretty much the chariot, man. All right. The Lord is coming back with the heavenly host. He's coming back on that massive fathership, if you will, with great power. All right. It says, and I saw and behold a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him. and he went forth conquering and to conquer, because when Yahushua comes back to the planet Earth, he's going to conquer the nations. All right, he's coming down to take down the kings of this earth. Right, let me get that real fast. This is Psalm 110. All right, real quick. Dealing with Yahushua, this is Psalms 110 and verse 5, and it reads, it says, the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua at thy right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath. This is what the Lord is going to do when he returns to the earth. He shall judge among the heathen. He shall fill the places with the dead bodies. He shall wound the heads over many countries. All right. The Lord is coming to conquer. All right. The nations, the leaders of these nations. It says he shall drink of the brook in the way. Therefore shall he lift up the head. Right. So when Yahushua comes and conquers the nations, he's going to be victorious. Right. Let me add another one. Revelation 19 and 11. Just speaking about the return of Yahushua. This is Revelation 19 and 11. It says, and it reads, it says, and I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, right? And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doeth judge and make war. And that's what the Lord is going to do when he returns to the planet. All right, he's going to judge and make war with this earth. It says, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. All right, and that symbolizes him conquering the nations. And upon his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, right? Because when you read Isaiah 63, it talks about how Yahushua's garments are going to be stained with blood, symbolizing the bloodshed that he's going to bring when he comes back to the earth. It says, and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of the Most High. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean, because he's coming back with the heavenly host. All right, he's coming back in his majesty in full power. All right, the angels and all. It says, verse 15, and out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he shall smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. It says, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of the almighty power. And he had on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And it says, and that's the point, so that's how Yahushua is coming back. All right, he's coming back in his perfection, in his glory, So let's go back to that Revelation 6 real quick. All right, so Revelation 6 and 2. Reading on here, it says, and I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him. And he went forth conquering to conquer. All right, as we read, he's coming back to take down the nations, the kings of this earth. All right, verse 3, it says, when he opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. Verse 4, it says, and there went out another horse that was red. All right, and that horse, all right, that power, because that horse is tied back to power. It says in that horse, it was red. All right. And we know that red represents Esau, man. It's tied back to the Edomites. It says, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword, going back to the blessing, man. Esau's blessing was the sword. And through that sword, he's caused death, calamity, war, chaos. All right. Biological warfare, man. That's part of his blessing, man. His technology. It says, verse 5, and when he opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hands. Right. So yeah, so that black horse being tied to the end times, the times of death, famine, and mourning, as we read here in 2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 18. Again, it says the beginning, 2 Ezra 16:18, it says the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? All right, so this is all tied to that black horse. All right, and also, the captivity of Israel. All right, let me pull that up too. us going into slavery under the hands of Esau right here in America. Okay. Let's pull up that word for balances, right? Zygos.
Strong's G 2218, Zugas.
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 And it goes into a yoke, metaphorically used of any burden or bondage as that of slavery, all right? And the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, Hispanics, all right, the 12 tribes went into slavery right here in Babylon, as it tells us in Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 33, that Judah and Israel went into captivity together, and all that held them fast refused to let them go, But it says, reading on here, Revelation chapter 6, in verse 6, and it reads, it says, "And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." Now, back during the Roman Empire, what they did is they devalued the currency. All right, they had inflation back then. All right, and where it says a measure of wheat for a penny, basically for a day's wages for work, back then, the money had value. You see that? So they were able to pretty much, fulfill, their basic necessities. You were able to afford things that you needed. But what happened by them devaluing the money, and this is exactly what the Romans did, it pretty much, which is called the denarion, all right? They devalued the denarion, okay, which caused inflation back then. And it's the same thing that's going on in this society now here in America, all right? Because America is Rome reincarnated, all right? Just pulling this up real fast, okay? Just dealing with that Revelation 6, verse 6, how they devalued the denarion, okay? So just real quick, pull this article up. This is from ancientorigins.net. It says the devaluation of Rome, Roman inflation, and the demise of the Roman Empire, and America is going down the same path. All right. It says, just reading a little bit here. It says inflation is a common economic phenomenon that can have a significant impact on the stability of a country's economy and social structures. This was certainly true for the Roman Empire, which experienced a period of rampant Roman inflation in the centuries leading up to its eventual collapse. And this is the same thing that we see going on here in America. Okay, everything is being set up for the eventual collapse of this economy. All right, as we see, once again, bringing this out again about the $315 trillion worth of debt that America cannot pay off. All right, so this society, if you will, is bound to collapse. All right, it says the causes and effects of this the causes and effects of this period of Roman inflation, which played a key role in the fall of Rome, are complex and multifaceted. However, by examining the economic policies, political events, and social conditions that contributed to the inflationary spiral, we can gain a deeper understanding of the factors that led to the decline and eventual collapse of one of the world's most powerful and influential empires, man. Ain't nothing new under the sun. All right. Just real quick, let's read some more here, because we're dealing with that verse in Revelation 6, verse 6, about a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny, right? Because the Romans devalued their currency, the denarion here, as we're reading. It says Roman inflation and his role in the fall of Rome. It says to fully understand how disastrous the fall of Rome really was and how we can learn from it, we need a little background. When we talk about the Roman Empire, we're talking about the period after 27 BC when Augustus came to power. The period before this, known as the Roman Republic, lasted from 509 BC to 27 BC and came after the old Roman monarchy, which according to the legend began in 753 BC with twins Romius and Remus, all right? Let's jump down a little bit. Okay. So it says, early problems with the denarius coinage. It says circulation proved to be a big problem when the denarius was first introduced. Making your currency out of precious metal sounds like a clever idea until you consider their value. They're valuable because they are rarer than base metals. The Roman Empire only had a finite amount of silver entering its borders, which severely limited how many denarii could be minted. This meant there weren't enough denarii floating around for the first few decades. There was an exceedingly small number of denarii in circulation, which limited the coin's use as currency. So we're going to jump down here and get straight to the point. So it says, before economics, understanding the dilution of the denarius. It says, this plan seems great until you remember that the coin's entire worth was supposedly based on its silver content, a silver content that has been reduced. All right, and it's the same thing America did with the paper money. All right, this green dollar bill is not backed by any gold or silver. All right, they're just producing money, worthless money. All right, it says the silver content that has been reduced over time. What had once happened to the as began happening to the denarius. All right, so they started devaluing the denarius, the currency, man. All right, and this is what caused the inflation, which led to the eventual collapse of the Roman Empire. All right, it says, to be fair, the Romans, the idea of economics as it exists today didn't really exist yet. Monetary policy and financial regulation were over 1,000 years away, and inflation as an old concept didn't exist. Essentially, the Roman use of coinage was barely a step up from the old systems of barter. All right, and so on and so forth. All right, so we know what happened. All right, to that Roman economy, if you will. They suffered from hyperinflation to the eventual collapse. All right, and you can read the rest on your own. But going back to the point here of that verse in Revelation 6, in verse 6, right? Reading this again in Revelation 6, verse 6, it says, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny. See thou hurt not the oil and the wine. So we understand that, just as the Romans devalued their currency, is the same thing that America's doing to this dollar, which is leading to the eventual collapse of this economy, man. All right. Inflation, people, it costs a lot more to get things that people need. All right. Which is all going to trigger, as we saw in the article, as it said in the headline, which is going to lead to the eventual global food crisis and pretty much the collapse of this economy, right? So it says, reading on, and it says, and see thou hurt not the oil and wine, because basically, the oil and wine is tied to the truth, and through that time, the Lord preserved the truth, and also in this time He's preserved the elect. Okay, it says, verse 7, and when I had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, come and see. Verse 8, and I looked, and behold, a pale horse. All right, and that pale horse is also tied to the different scenarios of death that are going to play out on the earth. All right, it says, and his name that sat on him was death, and hell followed with him. You see that? And these are the judgments of the Lord, man, that's going to consume the earth, as the scriptures told us in 2 Ezra 16, that sorrows are going to come upon this world on every side, It says, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth. And that fourth part of the earth represents Esau's earth, Esau's realm, basically. Okay. It says to kill with the sword and with hunger and with death and with the beasts of the earth, right? So the Lord is going to bring all types of judgment in these times, man. All right. 2/3 are going to be destroyed right along with these heathen and the rest of these Edomites, man. All right. That's all going to play in. All right. So you got plagues, you have famine, you Jacob's trouble, you have World War III. All right. You have all of these, disastrous type of scenarios that are getting ready to come upon Babylon and the rest of the world. All right. It says, and that's pretty much the point there, pretty much Revelation 6, 1 through 8, just dealing with the judgment, man. So we're definitely in that time, man. People, they have an idea that, things are not right in this world. Things are not right in this society, and pretty much, the Lord is, setting up the judgments that he has set forth for the appointed time, man. So, I just wanted to, go into this, into that chapter, into this topic here, that I pray that this quick lesson was edifying. All of this shit is pretty much getting ready to go down, man. America's out of there, man. So I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakakwadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth, and double salutations to all you Akim out there laboring. Hey, Shalom.